Hello there everybody, today we're going to be looking at all of the current Pokemon here in Pokemon Unite and ranking them based on their health stat. The thing that has prompted this is that Mamoswine is out and is a beast of a tank. And it made me think, I wonder where everybody stands on health. And I know what you're thinking, right? Mamoswine, one of those, that's probably number one, right? Isn't that cute? You have no idea who number one is. I can't wait to tell you. It surprised me. Alright, so this is going to be the ranking of all the Pokemon currently in Pokemon Unite based on health. And I'm going to talk a little bit about their other stats too, just to kind of see, so we can kind of see where they balance into things. And today is Wednesday, September 29th, just for a little bit of reference in case you're watching this way after that. I might be missing some. Alright, at least from your future perspective. Hello, future viewer. Greninja, number one. Greninja, number one. Here at the very bottom of the pack currently. He's an attacker, which maybe doesn't surprise you why he has so low health. You can guess what his health is, but you'll never guess it because it's a really weird number, 5152, 5,152 health. Also has pretty decently low stats for defensive stats. That's going to be a 250 on defense and 149 on defense. This kind of fits our general idea, though, of what an attacker is, which is pushing out damage, not taking much. Next after that, right next door, Cinderace. Cinderace with a much prettier health number, 5,400, but still just about 2 times below what our number one is. 250 defense there as well, and 149. So actually the same amount of defense for both these. Cinderace does have more health, though, to it, so each defense point does go a little bit further in that way. After that would be Absol. Let's skip down to Absol real quick so I don't have to find them all the way. Absol here, attack, melee, speedster. It makes sense to me that a melee would be also up in that list of fairly, oh goodness me, fairly weak in terms of a health and defensive stat-based Pokemon. Maybe I should have used this, but Absol has 6,000 health, which is about 600 more than Cinderace does. 259 defense, 180 special defense. So believe it or not, Absol, as squishy as Absol feels, actually has more defensive stats than both Cinderace and Greninja right now. You know who doesn't though? The next one on that list, which is going to be a Alolan Ninetales. Ninetales, 6,299 health, but only 175 defense, 135 special defense. This is another attacker. Higher health pool, way lower on defense, but really killing it here with the special attack, 955, one of the highest in the games. And I do feel like you kind of feel that in the game. I do feel like you definitely can tell a little bit of that burst right there with Ninetales. So that's next. After that, and this shouldn't be too much of a surprise, Talonflame, another speedster. 6300. So for some reason, Ninetales has one less total HP than Talonflame. So 6,300 here, 290 defense, 200 special defense. This is a lot tankier than an Absol. And it's strange to me to feel that because it definitely doesn't feel that way. Definitely doesn't feel that way. You know who else has a lot more tank stats than a Talonflame does? And you wouldn't guess this one either. That's going to be a Pikachu. Pikachu has the same exact health at 6,300, but just over half of the defense at 175 defense and 135 special defense. It's the same as Ninetales basically. So these two, 1 point less, 1 hit point less than Ninetales, and the same amount of defense. But somehow both of them have less defense than a Talonflame does as a speedster, which is very strange to me because again, Talonflame being an assassin, you tend to think complete glass cannon, but it turns out the assassins actually have a bit of tank ability to them. It definitely kind of improves the value of using health-based items on them. After Pikachu is going to come Cramorant. Cramorant right there, 6,301. We've really kind of clumped up around the 6,000 marks. 6,301 is Cramorant. 286. I'm sorry. Was that right? No. 300 defense and 200 special defense. So tankier than Talonflame. On the defense side, way tankier than Pikachu and Ninetales. Again, another attacker, a melee-based attacker. So it makes some sense, I suppose, that these guys that have a lot higher defense are, all melee. But still kind of surprises me their overall strength on this particular stat. So now we're looking at Gardevoir. Gardevoir is going to be after that. Oh, I'm sorry. Ziora is after that. My bad. I skipped one. Ziora with 6,319. And that's going to be a flat defense of 300 and special defense of 200. So about the same as Cramorant. Cramorant here? What am I talking? He's not melee. He's ranged. So I don't know what the deal is. These attackers have higher defense than all their special attack counterparts. So maybe it's that mage mentality. The special attackers are mages? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that one. After that, then, is Gardevoir. Gardevoir sitting at 6,320, so 1 health point more than Ziora. 175 defense, 138 special defense. So actually less defense than Pikachu and Ninetales there. And then after that, and this one makes a bit of sense to me on this one at least, is Venusaur, who is an absolute ranged boss, sitting in at a 962 special attack, but only 6,321 health. So we really have this really tight pile of health pool here, all in that 6,300. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pokemon with 6,300 health currently. Venusaur also has Gardevoir's relative defense stats, 174 in defense and 137 on special defense. So this is why I think that they've really buffed the Petal Dance, and at this point in the meta, the Petal Dance and the Giga Drain, but I still don't feel like it's great because Venusaur is still a glass cannon, not a lot of health, and certainly not a lot of defensive stats. After Venusaur comes Gengar, 7,200 health here, and not too shabby, 260 defense, 189 special defense. So definitely not as buff as Cramorant, Ziora, or Talonflame, but it's close. It's a comparable amount of defense, and this makes sense to me because Gengar does die quick, but does a ton of damage. After Gengar, you're going to have your Lucario, which is the first of the all-rounders, and is a trend here as well, as Lucario bumps us up to 7,249 health, and with a 390 defense, pretty solid there, and 300 special defense. So definitely a bit of a gap between the defense and special defense. This is seen within all of the Pokemon, though. They all have higher defense and special defense. Maybe that's why the special attackers are a little bit weaker. They do more damage, perhaps. So that makes some sense to me. After that is going to be, again, we're going to continue the trend with the Machamp, another all-arounder. 7,650 health, so a bit of a jump up from Lucario, and actually, believe it or not, more defense at 479, and more special defense at 320, and more attack. Yep, more attack as well. So Machamp actually has higher attack stats, higher defense, and all around just kind of better stats than Lucario. However, I think that a lot of people play Lucario because Lucario's kit is really strong right now. Machamp really good in the mid game with his kind of gank potential. After that, we're gonna finish this combination by going with Charizard, and it surprised me that we don't have more all-rounders by now, but I'm assuming we'll get some soon. 7,700 health. That's gonna be 463 attack, which is actually less than Machamp, but more than Lucario as well here. And then less defensive stats than both Machamp and Lucario at 350 for defense and 269 for special defense. And I do feel like you feel this in the game. Charizard, kind of tanky, kind of bulky, but definitely squishier than Lucario is. Lucario is like impossible to kill and deals a ton of damage right now, and the stats show that up. So after that is, oh, who am I forgetting? I almost forgot the last one. Garchomp, our final all-arounder. There you go. 7,750 with a whopping 424, defense and 367 special defense. So by a small margin, tankier than the rest of the all-rounders, just slightly tankier than Machamp, which is the next tankiest, but has an extra 100 health. So that definitely adds into the survivability of Garchomp, who I think probably, if played correctly and it was fully optimized and you were good at them, probably could outscale any of those other all-rounders. So what you may have noticed so far is that we've gone through all this way, and we have not seen a single support. Well, that's going to change now. We're picking up our first support here, LDgos, 8,002 health, a nice weird number for you. 200 defense, 149 special defense. So 200 defense is lower than a lot of the other Pokemon we talked about, but it's higher than Venusaur, it's higher than Gardevoir, it's higher than Pikachu, and it's higher than Ninetales. So believe it or not, LDgos with 8,000 health is actually tankier than all those ranged mages that we just talked about. So yeah, that's where LDgos belongs. And after that is going to be our first tank, which is going to be Slowbro, 9,400 health. And now we're going to kind of clump up here in the 9,000s, the low to medium 9,000s. 421 defense, 360 special defense. This is a tank with less defense than a Garchomp and a Machamp, and about equal to Lucario. And that kind of shows you where all-arounders belong. They're stacked right up there in the middle where they do a decent amount of damage, but they also take a decent amount of punishment. And Slowbro here really, looking on paper at least, to be the weakest by far of the tanks. The least amount of health pool by the tanks, and as you're about to see, the least amount of, at least an unimpressive amount of defensive stats. After Slowbro is going to come Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime's sitting up at 9,402. Now we're seeing the pattern where all these supports are starting to kind of clump up. 420 defense, 361 special defense. Machamp also has, or I'm sorry, Mr. Mime also has a higher amount of special attack than Slowbro, but is far lower in special attack than the other supports that we're kind of playing with here today. So, after Mr. Mime, we've got Wigglypuff coming in at 9,452. That's going to be a 539 defense and 482 special defense, and this is after nerf. Now, they originally buffed Wigglytuff to give more defense and special defense, but now Wigglytuff has more special defense and defense than Slowbro, as well as all of the other supports, as well as at least one of the current tanks, which is the next one on our list after Wigglytuff. Mamoswine. 9,648, very close to 10,000 health, but a relatively low for tank, 510 defense and 379 special defense. Now this is far higher than anything except for Wigglytuff so far on the defense department that we've seen. So it's more defense than a Garchomp, it's more than a Machamp, although not by a huge amount. Again, Machamp with 490 defense and Mamoswine 510, but you get a 2,000 health pool on top of that too. Mamoswine is a CC beast. If you haven't seen the video, you should check that out. But Mamoswine is all about doing just consistent consistent CC over time, and has the kit to show it. A nice fat health pool, but not much fur covering, it seems, for Mamoswine, with a lower than average for defenders defense score. All right, next, perhaps unsurprisingly, Blastoise. 9,800 health, a good health pool right there, and the highest defense and special defense in the game at 599 and 420. So if you're looking for the literal tankiest of the tanks in terms of their tank stats, I think you're looking here. The rest doesn't have a big change in health, but does have a pretty decent change in other stats like defense and special defense. So Blastoise, really tanky. Rapid Spin, when upgraded, also gives you more tank ability. So this, I would say, is probably a tier 1 tank from a simply stat perspective. But we have more to do, and after Blastoise is going to come our good friend here, Snorlax. Snorlax 9,899, so 99 more health than Blastoise. 580 defense and 400 special defense. So pretty close, very comparable, just behind by about 20 points on both defenses from a Blastoise. What we do see, though, otherwise, is that Snorlax's attack is 345. Blastoise's attack is 293 with a special attack of 412. So overall, Blastoise has a lot more stat potential here, and I think that kind of bears out in the current game. Snorlax has a couple builds that are memey or geeky and fun, but Blastoise just is universally one of the most played tanks right now in the game, besides Mamoswine, who was just released. And it has a huge amount of power with the ultimate, lots of CC and great survivability. Blastoise definitely a real contender for best tank of all time right now. And then after that, we only have a couple more guys. We have Crustle. Crustle coming in at 2990, at 9900, my bad. 9,900 health, which is just 1 point above Snorlax. And the same exact defense stats otherwise, 350 or 580 for defense, and then 400 for special defense, 344 on the attack, so 1 attack point less than Snorlax, and same exact special attack on Crustle. Again, special attack not really being used for them since they're all attackers. And that leaves only one person, but have you picked up on it? Have you picked up on the Pokemon in this game with the highest health pool by a little bit? it's going to be Blissy. Sitting in at a base of 10,000 health, Blissy has the highest health in the game. 200 defense, 300 special defense, 600 attack. It actually has a higher attack pool than even Wigglytuff right now. Yeah, Blissy is a stat champ. Just has a huge amount of just overall abilities and capabilities. Lacks the defense of Wigglytuff, but certainly makes up for it in a huge amount of a health pool at the top in the game currently, as well as a high amount of special attack. 10,000, the only one with 10,000 health in the entire game, Blissy at this moment. There you go. I just thought this was interesting. I wanted to share with you guys to kind of point out where the current health pools sit and why it kind of looks like that. Again, support's way tankier than you might think. So in addition to giving a lot of value and utility, they also are really pretty good at sitting up in the front of the fight, something that I think LDgos is the only one that doesn't do well at. But even then, LDgos is above in HP basically all the all-rounders, all the attackers, all the speedsters. So that's something to keep in mind, that even with that, although there's not a lot of defensive stats on an LDgos, it's still more than basically any other of the non-support or tank Pokemon. Another really interesting thing to quickly point out is Blissy actually has a higher special defense than defense, and is the only Pokemon I've thus far seen to have that. So Blissy doing a little bit better against special attack lanes than defense lanes, than an attack lane. Something to maybe keep in mind if you're high elo and you're min-maxing a little bit. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Yes.